After 3 years of being with Pei Xian, just as I was about to reveal my long-concealed identity as a princess, I heard his friend ask him in Yuezhi language right in front of me, "General Pei, when will you marry the Prime Minister Zhao's eldest daughter?" Pei Xian pulled my fox fur cloak tighter around me, his tone casual. "My family asked the National Master to choose an auspicious date. In 10 days, it will be a perfect day for marriage." Everyone present looked at me. "Once you're married, what will happen to Miss Yang Yang?" Pei Xian peeled a candied fruit I loved and handed it to me. "I'll keep her outside. I can't bear to let her suffer the hardships of a noble family's inner courtyard." The crowd burst into laughter and teasing. "It seems Miss Yang Yang is very skilled in bed. She's stolen your soul away." Pei Xian hugged me, his eyes brimming with tender affection, yet he made no move to stop their malicious stares and mocking remarks. I felt as if I'd fallen into an ice cave. Little did they know, I held the key to the Silk Road's vital passes and was proficient in the languages of all the border kingdoms. I sent a carrier pigeon to my father, the emperor. "Your daughter is willing to return to the royal family and assist my young brother, Your Royal Highness." Years ago, to cook an authentic Yuezhi feast for my mother, I had secretly consulted the head chef of a restaurant. Unexpectedly, after all these years, he still recognized me, her, a princess, looking so shabby. "She's not even worthy to lick the toes of Zhao Yunwen, the talented lady of the capital. How dare she pretend to be a princess? That's hilarious. If she's a princess, I must be the heavenly emperor. Who doesn't know that the current princess has been in poor health since childhood and is cultivating in seclusion outside? Open your dog eyes and stop mistaking fish eyes for pearls." Pei Xian's friends sneered and jeered. The chef repeatedly apologized, claiming he'd made a mistake due to poor eyesight, and fled in haste. Their reckless noise made me feel physically uncomfortable. I stood up and left the private room without a word. To my surprise, Pei Xian, who had been silent all along, left them behind and followed me out. "Yang Yang, are you feeling unwell? If you don't like them, I won't bring you to meet my friends again." My heart was unprecedentedly calm. "Is it because you think I'm too inferior to show off and bring you shame?" He looked at me with deep pity and stroked my hair. "How could that be? Yang Yang, you're the most beautiful woman in the world. Even royalty can't compare to you. I just don't want you to be wronged or unhappy." I stared steadily into his eyes. Once, this man had promised to be with me for a lifetime, faithful to only me, but somehow, he no longer dared to meet my gaze directly. Our statuses are vastly different. If we want to marry and stay together forever, these things are inevitable. "Xian, will you marry me?" He froze for a moment, then turned his head awkwardly. "Yang Yang, marriage is a matter that requires careful consideration. I promise you, my heart belongs only to you." For 3 years, Pei Xian had doted on me endlessly, but every time marriage was mentioned, he always avoided the topic. I had thought that as a member of the Duke of Zhen's mansion, his family looked down on my humble origins, so I had sent a letter to my father early on. If Pei Xian proposed to me, I would reveal my true identity. I was the emperor's only daughter. My mother didn't want me confined and deprived of freedom, so she had claimed since I was a child that I was in poor health and cultivating in seclusion. In truth, I had traveled all over the country these years, holding the economic lifeline of the entire Chen dynasty in my hands. 5 days ago, I had seen a pair of wild geese at his private villa, thinking he had finally made up his mind to propose to me. But who would have thought that I would instead hear the news of his upcoming marriage to Zhao Yunwen, the Prime Minister Zhao's eldest daughter? It turned out that he had never intended to give me a legitimate future. While indulging in my company, he couldn't let go of his obsession with status and was preparing to marry a noble lady of matching background. If he wouldn't marry me, then I would end this. From now on, he could marry his noble lady, and I would return to assist my young royal brother, Yang Yang. Didn't you keep pestering me to cultivate new peony varieties earlier? If you don't like it here, I'll accompany you to the flower market, okay? As soon as we walked out of the restaurant, a man dressed as a servant blocked our way. Before I could see who it was clearly, Pei Xian quickly stepped between me and the stranger. Didn't I say not to disturb me during my day off? The person's voice was soft and delicate. The wedding dress. Pei Xian coughed to interrupt them, then turned to look at me with a troubled expression. Yang, there really is an urgent official matter. I'll send someone to take you back. In the moment they turned around, I saw the person clearly. Though dressed as a servant, the obvious ear holes in her smooth earlobes gave her away. It was none other than Zhao Yunwen, the famous talented lady of the capital. She glanced back at me, raising her eyebrows triumphantly, and strode away. This time, he had left me for her. What about next time? And the time after that? He kept saying he loved me, claiming that marrying Zhao Yunwen was only his family's wish. But now, his actions were gradually leaning toward her. When I returned home, my personal maid Bitao secretly presented a red wedding invitation to me. General Pei really dotes on you, miss. I heard he personally collected all the invitation designs available and finally chose this dragon and phoenix pattern. Xiao Kui said that in his free time these days, General Pei locks himself in his study and writes the invitations by hand. I smiled bitterly to myself. The invitation he cherished so much, writing it with his own hands, was not for me but to give Zhao Yunwen dignity. Miss, if you marry into the Duke of Zhen's mansion, what will happen to all the peonies in this garden? I loved peonies. Over the past 3 years, Pei Xian had searched the world for rare peony varieties and transplanted them in my courtyard, just to make me smile. 2 years ago, I contracted the plague and had a high fever that wouldn't break. Defying everyone's objections, he insisted on staying by my bedside, testing medicines on himself to pull me back from the brink of death. Back then, Pei Xian had loved me so much that he was willing to risk his life. Why had he changed his mind now? Wanting me to be a mistress even lower than a concubine. As soon as Bitao left, a hidden guard slipped into the room and reported to me, "Young Master Pei has taken a fancy to the wedding dress you embroidered yourself. He insists on buying it for Zhao Yunwen." I had secretly been embroidering my own wedding dress for a year, looking forward to a long and lasting life with Pei Xian. Young Master Pei said, "He said it's just a wedding dress. Even if it were stars in the sky, he would pluck them for Zhao Yunwen if she wanted. He said he wants Zhao Yunwen to be the most beautiful bride in the capital." I burst into laughter, but tears streamed down my cheeks one by one. Since business has come to my door, there's no reason to turn customers away. If he wants it, fine. 10,000 taels of silver. 10,000 taels of silver to end the bond between us. It was worth it. Less than an hour later, Xiao Kui, Pei Xian's personal servant, rushed in. "Miss Chu, General Pei asks if the jade pendant and night pearl he gave you earlier are still with you. He needs them urgently." I understood immediately. He probably didn't have enough cash on hand and wanted to use these items as payment. I gathered all the things he had given me over the past 3 years, the lantern from the Lantern Festival, the jade hairpin from Chishi Festival, the poems he wrote for me at the Spring Banquet, the peace talisman he prayed for me at Xianghua Temple. Everything he gave me is here. Take it all away. As night fell, Pei Xian hurried back, his face filled with guilt and panic. Yang, why did you return all the things I gave you?" When the package was opened, the lantern and poems were there, but all the valuable jewelry was gone. I sneered inwardly, but my face remained calm as I looked at the book in my hand. Feeling rebuffed, he leaned closer to me and glanced flatteringly at the book. Yang, you don't have to study so hard. It pains me to see you overworked. I can support you." The book I was reading was no ordinary text. It was an encrypted account book. Yang, I really had important matters to attend to today, which is why I couldn't accompany you. Don't be angry, okay? I'll take a day off tomorrow to spend with you, I promise. What he deemed important matters were nothing more than accompanying Zhao Yunwen to choose her wedding dress. His current groveling was merely guilt and compensation for his wrongdoing. I didn't expose his clumsy lies, neither agreeing nor refusing. Perhaps he truly felt remorse early the next morning. He lined up for an entire hour to buy me my favorite sweet Osmanthus cakes. Once, I would have been deeply grateful, but now I just ate the pastries in silence. Yang, are you in a bad mood? Did you hear something? What are you afraid I might have heard? Are you hiding something from me? Pei Xian's flustered gaze wandered. He grabbed my hand tightly and sighed after a long while. Yang, I love you, only you. Seeing that I remained unhappy, Pei Xian suggested going out. I borrowed your jewelry yesterday. Today I'll buy you new ones. But before we could step out, his friends dragged us to a literary gathering. As soon as we pushed open the private room door, a gust of fragrant wind hit us. The elaborately dressed Zhao Yunwen appeared excitedly in front of us. Pei Xian instinctively let go of my hand, coughed awkwardly, and shot a sharp glance at his good brothers. A Xian, who is this? Oh, her name is Chu Yang. He then reached out to introduce me. This is Zhao Yunwen, the eldest daughter of Prime Minister Zhao, famous in the capital. You can ask her for advice on noble ladies' etiquette and rules. A simple introduction made the hierarchy clear. I felt a sharp chill for my past foolish devotion, whether by design or not. Zhao Yunwen and I sat on either side of Pei Xian. At first, Pei Xian leaned toward me, occasionally passing me pastries and candied fruits. But as Zhao Yunwen spoke eloquently with witty remarks, Pei Xian's attention was gradually drawn to her, and they leaned closer and closer. It wasn't until I choked on a pastry and coughed violently that he snapped back to his senses, hurrying to pour me tea and pat my back gently to help me catch my breath. Feeling better, behind us, his good brothers whispered maliciously, "Has Pei Xian lost his mind?" Choosing to cherish this illiterate country bumpkin over the renowned talent Zhao Yunwen. Exactly, look at her, she eats like a starving ghost, such a refined gathering, and she only cares about pastries. What a buzzkill, crude and uncultured. She'd probably use a rare ancient manuscript as toilet paper if it were placed in front of her. They pointed and gestured, throwing contemptuous glances at me from time to time. Soon, a calligraphy scroll was displayed in the center of the stage. After a literary connoisseur examined it carefully, he exclaimed that it was an authentic work by Wang Shiji. Zhao Yunwen sat up straight immediately, clinging to Pei Xian's arm excitedly. A Xian. Her Royal Highness the Princess will return to the capital soon. The Emperor is likely to appoint her as Regent Princess. I heard she loves collecting Wang Shiji's authentic works the most. Shall we buy this and give it to her as a greeting gift? I glanced up at the scroll on stage. It's fake. Everyone stared at me in disbelief, then burst into laughter. Chu Yang, you can barely read a single character. How dare you say this scroll is fake? Are you claiming to be more skilled than the connoisseur? The authentic one is already in the princess's collection. They laughed even louder. What arrogance from a country bumpkin. How do you know if the princess has it or not? Can you predict the future? A look of embarrassment flashed across Pei Xian's face. He patted my hand gently. Yang, I know you've been copying Wang Shiji's calligraphy lately, but copying doesn't mean you can distinguish authenticity. Yunwen has studied extensively since childhood. With countless ancient rare books in her family, she couldn't be mistaken. Pei Xian's words settled the matter. Zhao Yunwen happily raised her paddle to bid. But when it came time to pay, even after pooling all their money, they were still short. Miss Chu, this jade bracelet on your wrist looks of excellent quality. It should cover the difference. Could you part with it to help us buy the scroll? The bracelet was a rare Hatian warm jade piece. After my severe illness 2 years ago, my hands and feet were always cold. Pei Xian had gone to great lengths to find this jade and personally carved it into a mandarin duck bracelet for me. I looked up at Pei Xian. He pursed his lips awkwardly. I'll just borrow it. I'll redeem it later and return it to you. The bracelet had a small opening. At first, Pei Xian twisted it carefully, but urged by Zhao Yunwen, he grew anxious, yanking it off roughly. My entire hand turned red. While Pei Xian went to buy the scroll, Zhao Yunwen sat beside me. Her face wore an innocent, gentle smile, but her words were vicious. So what if you've been with him for 3 years? Didn't he still choose to believe me? I'm the direct daughter of the Prime Minister's mansion, a perfect match for him. And you, Chu Yang, what are you? You're just a poor farmer's daughter. Your father is a lame hunter. Your mother a blind peasant woman. What right do you have to stand by a Xian's side? Even if you cling to him as a lowly mistress, have you thought about it? I'll be the future mistress of the Pei family. Selling you off will be as easy as flipping my hand. You're like mud on the ground, born inferior. What makes you think you can compete with me? The lame father and blind mother were lies I'd made up about my background. I never thought Pei Xian would even tell her that. Anger surged in my chest. Suddenly, I wondered what expressions they'd make when they presented this fake Wang Shiji scroll to me. A cold laugh came from the adjacent private room. A bunch of fools, mistaking fish eyes for pearls. A man in purple, adorned with flashy jewelry like a dandy, pointed at me. You woman, you're quite interesting. Pei Xian saw this as he returned with the scroll. He pulled me into his arms possessively and slipped a string of beads onto my wrist. Wear this for now, I'll find you a better jade bracelet later. Stay away from him, he's just a dandy living off his ancestors' glory. I looked down at the dull beads, merely a cheap free gift that came with the scroll from the vendor. At the end of the gathering, Zhao Yunwen lifted her skirt and approached Pei Xian's carriage. Xian, it's getting late. Could you give me a ride? Pei Xian glanced at me instinctively, wanting to refuse, but she spoke first. Her Royal Highness the Princess will return to court soon. Father asked me to pass on some matters to you. Pei Xian thought for a moment and nodded in agreement. Zhao Yunwen's face lit up with a coquettish smile, looking at me sitting beside Pei Xian. She pushed her luck. Miss Chu, Xian and I need to discuss something important. Could you move over? I turned and sat in the corner on the other side of the carriage. Zhao Yunwen sat proudly next to Pei Xian, leaning close to his ear and whispering as if sharing a secret. Father said the princess has been cultivating in seclusion for years and holds a special place in the emperor's heart. He told us we must seize the opportunity to curry favor with her. Their heads drew closer and closer, like intertwined mandarin ducks. I drifted off to sleep without realizing it. When I woke up, the carriage was parked at my door, and I was covered with Pei Xian's cloak. You're awake. You looked so peaceful sleeping, I couldn't bear to wake you. I stood up, ignoring his outstretched hand, and jumped off the carriage, heading for my residence. He chased after me, flusteredly explaining, Yang, Yunwen's family and mine are longtime friends. I can't leave her stranded. You've always been sensible, you must understand me, right? Yang, I swear to heaven you're the only one in my heart. Only those guilty use oaths to cover their guilt. A few days later, the owner of an antique shop sent word that he'd found something rare and invited me to appreciate it. Once, my search for antiques was only to reveal my identity, so he could take them to meet my father, the emperor. As soon as I walked into the antique shop, I unexpectedly saw Pei Xian accompanying Zhao Yunwen to choose items. When he saw me, Pei Xian hurried forward to explain. Yunwen wants to pick a gift for her elders but can't decide. She asked me to help, don't overthink it. The shopkeeper had just taken out the Duan inkstone he'd specially found for me. When Zhao Yunwen's eyes lit up, she snatched it away. Xian, this Duan inkstone is exquisitely crafted. My father will definitely love it. Pei Xian looked at me awkwardly. I'd mentioned earlier that I wanted him to accompany me to see my parents, and he'd agreed without hesitation. My father also likes Duan inkstones. I'm afraid I can't give this up. Zhao Yunwen sneered contemptuously. Your father is just a lowly farmer. What does he know about elegance? A Xian, look, Yang. Yunwen urgently needs this inkstone. Could you let her have it this time? I'll buy a better one for your father next time. Okay, first come, first served, but his heart had long been biased. Perhaps to compensate me for being reasonable, he even invited me to walk with them after we left the shop. I declined, but at that moment, a mad carriage came galloping toward us from afar. In the critical moment, I instinctively reached out to hold Pei Xian's hand, but he shielded Zhao Yunwen and rolled to the side. He held Zhao Yunwen tightly in his arms, fearing she'd suffer even the slightest harm, and even thoughtfully helped straighten her clothes. As for me, I was knocked aside. Blood gushed from my forehead, blurring my vision. Once, during the Lantern Festival riots, assassins attacked passers-by randomly. Pei Xian had held me in his arms, even telling jokes to distract me from my fear. It wasn't until reinforcements arrived that I realized his back was covered in stab wounds. The imperial physician said Pei Xian had narrowly escaped death. But his first words when he woke up were, Yang, your tears break my heart. Times had changed. The Pei Xian who once loved me more than his own life was gone forever. Pei Xian finally noticed I was injured. He ran over and apologized repeatedly. Yang, I'm sorry. Zhao Yunwen stepped forward with a guilty look. Miss Chu, I have an important banquet to attend soon. Don't be angry with a Xian. Okay. Pei Xian was only afraid his bride would be disfigured. What wrong had he done? The mistake was mine. For loving the wrong person, Pei Xian lifted me up without a word and rushed home, ordering his servant to fetch a doctor immediately. I thought I must look terrible otherwise. Why were Pei Xian's hands trembling as he held me? Yang, you'll be okay. During my recovery these past few days, Pei Xian stayed by my side constantly, as if we were back to the days of mutual love and trust, until one day, he looked at me with a complex expression. Yang, I have important matters to attend to in the coming days. Stay here and wait for me. No matter what happens or what you hear, don't believe it. Just remember in your heart that I love you the most. I understood he was going back to get married. He was probably afraid I'd hear the news and cause trouble. So he was comforting me in advance. The day my father arranged for me to return to the palace unfortunately coincided with Pei Xian's wedding day. I sat in the princess's carriage and passed Pei Xian, who was riding a tall horse with a joyful look on his face. The wind lifted the carriage curtain, and he suddenly turned around to look at me. I thought he'd recognized me, but instead, he leaned down to ask Xiao Kui beside him in a low voice, was that the princess's carriage that just passed? After getting an affirmative answer, he fell into thought and urged Xiao Kui to hurry back to the mansion. Tell father the princess has returned to the palace. Send someone to invite her immediately. If the princess can attend my wedding, the general's mansion will surely become her confidant in the future. The noisy and festive sound of gongs and drums passed by. Pei Xian walked away, looking complacent. As soon as I stepped into the palace gate, my father, mother, and young brother had been waiting for a long time. My dear Yang, why have you lost so much weight? Where's that rascal you wrote about wanting to spend your life with? I'd kept my identity hidden while living with Pei Xian, and had never told my parents who he was. They only knew such a person existed. I shook my head. We've parted ways, no more ties. My young brother clenched his little fat fists. Sister, don't be afraid. When I grow up, I'll teach a lesson to anyone who bullies you. Father and mother accompanied me to my palace, which was filled with all kinds of calligraphy, paintings, and antiques I loved. All these years, you've wandered far and wide for the great Chen dynasty. We couldn't see you, so we could only collect things you like, hoping you'd be happy when you come back. Father and mother never wanted to trap me in the palace cage and had always indulged my willfulness. Unfortunately, I'd wasted my sincere feelings. 3 years of companionship had only made me a lowly mistress, holding my young brother and looking at my parents' concerned eyes. The anger in my heart eased a lot. Mother patted my shoulder gently. It's good to be back, so good to be back. Father couldn't wait to place his imperial seal in front of me. My young brother followed suit, holding his favorite toy and offering it to me, just as our family was enjoying the warm moment. A guard came in to report the direct son of the Duke of Jean's mansion was getting married, and they specially invited the princess to attend the ceremony. Mother, me from the long journey, wanted to decline on my behalf, but I stood up and took the invitation. Every word on it was written by Pei Xian's own hand. Suddenly, I wondered what expression he'd have when he saw me there. Father and Mother originally wanted me to wear the princess's grand attire and travel in the princess's carriage, but I stopped them. I put on my usual plain clothes and went to the Pei mansion alone, without any attendants, only to be stopped at the door. Before I could speak, a voice came from behind. "TSK, isn't this the mistress Pei Xian keeps outside? Did you come to crash the wedding today? Can't get in." I love watching excitement, especially wedding crashes. "Come, follow me in." The man was dressed in goose-yellow robes. It was none other than the flashy man in purple from the literary gathering, Xie Chen, the Marquis of Junji, the last descendant of the Empress Dowager's family and a famous dandy in the capital. As soon as I stepped into the main hall, the noisy voices fell silent instantly. Everyone turned to look at me in unison. Chu Yang, Zhao Yunwen, wearing the red wedding dress I'd embroidered with my own hands. And Pei Xian called my name at the same time. I knew it. A country girl like Chu Yang is full of schemes, pretending to be obedient and sensible while trying to climb the social ladder. Exactly. Now that her daydream of marrying Pei Xian is shattered, she's here to ruin the wedding. Only Pei Xian would treat her like a treasure. Though I have to say, look at Chu Yang, with her slim waist and curvy hips. She must be amazing in bed, if Pei Xian gets tired of her someday. I'd also like to keep her outside for fun. Totally, even in plain clothes, she can't hide her seductive charm. If that day comes, shall we brothers share her? Whispers filled the air. People openly judged me and made vulgar remarks. Pei Xian frowned, his face darkening as he stepped forward to warn me in a low voice. Yang, be good. Go back home and wait. I'll explain everything to you when I get back. Today, the mansion is full of noble families from the capital. And Her Royal Highness the Princess will be here soon. You shouldn't be here. Seeing I didn't move, he resorted to cajoling. Yang, it won't do you any good if my official career is ruined. Right. Marrying today is just to comply with my family's arrangements and give them an explanation. After the wedding, I'll live with you outside every day. I'll never wrong you. Be reasonable and leave now. What if I don't? Pei Xian paced restlessly in front of me. Zhao Yunwen stepped forward, linking her arm with his to declare her ownership. Miss Chu, today is a Xian's and my special day. All the powerful figures of the capital are here. This isn't a place for you. Don't be ungrateful. If you insist on ruining our wedding, even if a Xian and I let you off, others won't. Maybe tomorrow. Chu Yang will no longer exist in this world. How can an egg compete with a stone? Be sensible and leave at once. Zhao Yunwen's words were soft but sharp, showing her reasonableness while warning me. As the pointing and whispering around grew louder, Pei Xian's face darkened. He waved his hand toward the distance, and several burly men hurried over, grabbing my hands and feet tightly. Send her back to the private villa and keep a close watch. Don't let her run out again. He stared into my eyes. Yang, I have no choice. Be good and go with them. I'll come to accompany you as soon as I'm done here. Don't you like the sunset at West Mountain? I'll take you to see it when I get back. Zhao Yunwen stepped forward, pretending to straighten my clothes, and whispered mockingly, Chu Yang, see clearly. This is what it means to be a perfect match. No matter how deeply he cared for you, didn't he abandon you to marry me? Tonight, we'll consummate our marriage. In the future, We'll have our own legitimate sons, while you'll always be a lowly rat who can't show your face. When you grow old and lose your looks, it'll only take one word from me. By then, even if he throws you into a brothel, he won't glance at you twice. Chu Yang, you can never beat me. She winked at the burly men, under the cover of my dress. Their hands groped my skin arbitrarily. As I struggled, they tore my clothes apart. Get away, let me go, Zhao Yunwen screamed. Ah, Miss Chu, why are you undressing in broad daylight? The lecherous gazes of Pei Xian's friends lingered on me. Her skin is whiter than snow, even though she's a farmer's daughter, it must feel amazing to touch. Look at her squirming, she's so provocative. I wish I could drag her to bed right now. Pei Xian clenched his fists, his face twisted with restraint mixture of pity and anger. He glanced at the crowd, then waved his hand to have me taken away. Xie Chen, who loved stirring up trouble, stepped forward, taking off his cloak and draping it over me. What kind of nonsense is this? So many people bullying a weak woman. If Pei Xian doesn't want you, why not come with me? Somehow, Xie Chen made the four burly men's hands snap back instantly. Pei Xian's face turned even darker. Yang, how long do you plan to make a scene? Do you really want the princess to dislike me and the entire Pei mansion? Zhao Yunwen added fuel to the fire. A Xian. Miss Chu must hate you so much that she's latched onto Xie Chen. This loser. Oh, they were exchanging glances at that literary gathering. Maybe they already had an affair back then. Xie Chen's usual playful face turned serious. Shut your filthy mouth. Who would have thought the renowned talented lady of the capital is just a petty villain who slanders and resents others? Miss Yang is open and upright, far better than a hypocritical ugly woman like you. Zhao Yunwen was lost for words, then her eyes lit up as she quickly put on a virtuous act. A Xian, forget it, after all, guests are guests. Since Miss Yang insists on staying, let her be. But her clothes are tattered and inappropriate. Shall I have someone take her to change? I wondered what she was up to and followed her to the backyard. As soon as we entered the door, she turned around and slapped me hard. Bitch, this slap is to teach you a lesson. How dare you steal my man? Don't you know how many lives you have? Teach this lowly woman a good lesson, let her know her place. Just then, a maid rushed in, gasping for breath. The princess. Zhao Yunwen's face lit up. What did you say? The princess is here. Hurry, fix my makeup at once. I must make a good impression on her, preferably become her close friend. I sneered inwardly. You won't get the chance. They hurried to the front hall, leaving me completely ignored. I found a clean dress and put it on, sitting calmly on a stool and drinking tea. Noisy voices came from outside. What? You say the princess is already here. Where is she? I don't see her. The shrill voice of Eunuch Fu, my father's personal eunuch, echoed. Are you accusing this old eunuch of lying? No. It's just that we really haven't seen any princess. The door opened. Eunuch Fu's eyes brightened as he hurried to me and knelt in salute. My dear princess. Why are you drinking tea here? Behind him stood a large crowd, and the room fell instantly silent. After a long while, Zhao Yunwen stared in disbelief. Eunuch Fu, could you have made a mistake? Chu Yang is just a farmer's daughter. How could she be the noble princess? Eunuch Fu shot her a sharp glance. Even if this old eunuch's eyes are blurred, I could never mistake the princess. Her Royal Highness's given name is Chu Liujing, and her courtesy name is Yang. You people are quite interesting. On one hand, you wrote an invitation begging the princess to attend the wedding. On the other, you locked her up here alone. What exactly are you plotting? The faces of everyone behind him turned pale instantly, especially Pei Xian, Zhao Yunwen, and the young masters who had mocked me earlier. Pei Xian walked toward me step by step, disbelief written all over his face. Yang, you're the princess. Eunuch Fu shouted angrily. Presumptuous. How dare you call the princess by her given name directly? Insulting a member of the royal family, what punishment do you deserve? Everyone knelt down in terror. Even though Xie Chen was kneeling, a casual smile played on his lips. Insulting the royal family. There's plenty more of that, Eunuch Fu. Before you arrived, they tried to drive the princess away. That's not all, they let their servants humiliate her, tear her clothes, and even said they'd drag her to bed. Blasphemy. Who dared? When I left the palace, my father had ordered Eunuch Fu to accompany me, but I'd slipped away halfway. Xie Chen pointed out several people, ignoring their wails. Eunuch Fu ordered them to be taken to the imperial prison. Seeing no one to protect them, they cried out to Zhao Yunwen, "Miss Zhao, save us. It was you who said Chu Yang said she had no backers, that we could even kill her without fear. Miss Zhao, we did everything you told us. You can't abandon us." Yes. It was you who said to teach her a lesson, to make her know her place. Zhao Yunwen's face turned as white as paper, still unable to believe it. No, this isn't true. How could Chu Yang be the princess? I did nothing wrong. I just wanted to protect my family. It's her fault, she wanted to steal my husband. A sudden light flashed in her eyes. Yes, it's her, she used her status as a princess to forcibly steal my husband. I stepped forward and slapped her hard. This slap is payback for the one you gave me just now. I slapped her again. This one is for the old me. Didn't you say I'm like mud on the ground, born inferior? Tell me, how am I inferior? It's just a man. If you want him, take him. This princess doesn't care. Pei Xian finally came to his senses. His face filled with uncontrollable joy. Yang, you really are the princess. That's wonderful. You said earlier you'd take me to meet your parents. Let's go see the emperor now. I pulled my hand away sharply. General Pei, please respect yourself. Your fiancée is the Prime Minister's eldest daughter. What does that have to do with me? A look of struggle crossed Pei Xian's face, and finally, he seemed to make up his mind. Yang, I was forced. The Duke of Zhen's mansion is declining day by day. How could we stand against the powerful Prime Minister Zhao? I had to obey their arrangements just to save both our lives. I thought his betrayal was already despicable. But I never imagined he was such a sycophant, nothing but a shameless seeker of fame and fortune. I blamed myself for being blinded by the kindness he once showed. 3 years ago, while traveling the Silk Road for the last time, I was bitten by a venomous snake and left dying. He appeared out of nowhere and sucked the poison out of my wound. Delirious from the venom, I heard someone call him General Pei when they came to find him. Later, when I accidentally met Pei Xian in the capital. We fell in love at first sight and stayed together for 3 years. Pei Xian, why deceive yourself? I heard you personally say you were going to marry Zhao Yunwen. I heard you say you only wanted to keep me as a mistress outside. I understand, Yuezhi. The color drained from Pei Xian's face, and he had no way to refute. The wedding dress you bought.
What a dramatic show today, truly entertaining. Her Royal Highness will have to choose a husband eventually. Why not consider me? Look how handsome I am. I'd never marry another woman for fame or fortune. Most importantly, I'm alone in the world, just a lonely soul. What do you say? I squinted at the flashy man beside me. Young Master Xie, you look familiar. Have we met before? The smile froze on Xie Chen's face. No, I don't think so. I sneered and walked away. After that, the famous dandy Xie Chen seemed possessed. He sent me things every other day, folk lanterns, rock sugar gourds, clay figurines. None were valuable, but they clearly took a lot of thought. On the Dragon Boat Festival, I took my young brother to dot the I's of the dragon boat. Just as we finished, a snake suddenly lunged at us from nowhere. I hugged my brother tightly, but felt a sharp pain in my arm. Protect the princess. Protect the princess. Amidst the chaotic shouts, my vision grew blurry. Suddenly, a whiff of fragrance passed by, and someone quickly pulled me into their arms, tearing off my sleeve to treat the wound. In my daze, it felt like I was back to 3 years ago, dying from the snake bite. That person had sucked the venom from my leg one mouthful at a time. Who are you? My benefactor. I will repay you someday. That person hadn't spoken. I grabbed their hand, calloused. clearly a martial artist. I opened my eyes suddenly, clutching a hand tightly. And my gaze cleared as I looked at the face in front of me. It was you 3 years ago, wasn't it, Xie Chen? Xie Chen clicked his tongue, turning his head in a huff. Not too stupid. Memories flooded back. No wonder every time Pei Xian and I went out, would run into the flashy dandy Xie Chen. Were you the one meddling in the background all these years? During the 3 years with Pei Xian, every time he tried to stay with me overnight, something urgent would always call him away. Bitao is your person. Otherwise, how could he have known our movements so accurately? I gritted my teeth, this scheming rascal. But he started throwing a tantrum. I only did it because you're blind. Who told you to mistake your benefactor? I really was in the wrong here. Wait, you're not a dandy at all. You're highly skilled in martial arts. Why pretend to be a dandy? He rubbed his forehead. If I didn't pretend to be a dandy, what if your father arranged a marriage for me? What if other families wanted to marry their daughters to me? He shook my hand flatteringly. Yang, consider me, even if you don't marry me. I'll be your secret lover, no title, no status, just me. Gradually, I got used to his playful banter by my side. While inspecting the people's livelihood, a servant reported, "There's a Mr. Pei outside asking to see you." It had only been a few months, but Pei Xian no longer had the heroic air of a young general. He exuded despair. He looked at me with sorrowful eyes. Yang, for the sake of our 3 years together, can you spare the Pei family? I smiled at him. Pei Xian, didn't you abandon our bond long ago? From the moment you chose to hide your marriage to Zhao Yunwen from me, there was nothing left between us. Besides, I'm not interested in crushing a declining family. You're begging the wrong person. I pointed to the flashy Xie Chen beside me. You should beg him to curry favor with me. Xie Chen had transferred all his secretly cultivated forces to my name, so I knew all his little moves. Pei Xian tried to say more, but Xie Chen cut him off. Yang, my feet hurt from walking all day. Help me. He casually slung his arm over my shoulder, hugging me as we walked past Pei Xian. Looking at the clear blue sky outside, I said, Xie Chen, when we get back, find some time to give all those Duan inkstones in your house to my father. Xie Chen froze, then overjoyed. He picked me up and ran. How about we go see the emperor tonight? Besides Duan inkstones, what else does he like? Yang, are you agreeing to marry me? It's okay if you don't, I'll marry you instead. Yang, do you like me a little bit? Well, before I could finish, his lips crashed down on mine.